Isn't it crazy? One moment can change the direction of your life.
Oh, no question.
One instant.
No question, man.
One slight turn, one hit, one breath
moment, man,
could change everything.
Yeah, man. And that's affected and impacted even the way that I live my life until this day. Just not only the injury, but it's so many parts of the injury that shape my perspective until this day. I always say to people, because they say to me all the time, like, man, did you do anything different? Did you wear any different pads? Did you warm up different? Right? And I'm like, no, man, I did the same thing. I listened to the same pregame music, like my song. I'm like, man, I listened to the same song, wore the same pads.
Yeah.
But for some reason, on September 9th, 2006, on that day, the outcome of something that I did for most of my life was totally different, right? And so I always ask people and challenge people, like when you say something to the extent of, not you, but just a person, I'll get to it tomorrow. I'm like, who promised you that? Right? I'll get to it a month from now. I'm like, who promised you that? Right? Because life changes so quick, right? And as people, we're often arrogant. I was one of them. We live our lives and we feel as if we're promised something, right? But when you think about it, it's like when we try to control things. But when you really think about the macro of life and the grand scheme of life, we really don't have any control, right? We can control what we possess: emotions, attitude, thought process, perspective, how we speak, how we respond. But just life in general, we have no control of that, right? You think about how many people woke up this morning thinking like, man, everything is gonna be great, and life changed, right? One day you wake up on top of the world, next day you wake up, world is on top of you, right? And so it's affected my mentality and my perspective just toward life, how I greet people, how I see people, how I interact, right? Just that one moment and one element of the injury, right? It's so many things that's happened inside of the injury that shaped and molded me as a person. People see the injury. People don't always think about the intricacies of how it shaped and molded and cultivated who I am as a man until this day. I think the beautiful thing about adversity and opposition, when you live with it, it teaches you, right? If you're open to it, right? When you live with challenges, it teaches you. And so the reason that I wouldn't change what happened to me or go back and even change the incident is because of not only the man that it shaped and molded me into, but the way it's impacted those close to me. I said, but more than that, it's about, can I condition my mindset and my perspective that when uncertainty happens, opposition happens, adversity happens, I can put my mind, my perspective in a space and place to extract some good, right? And so with adversity and opposition with my arm, I got a paralyzed right arm and hand. My perspective, my drive, my dedication, my commitment, my essence, my ethos, the thing that makes me ink, it never got paralyzed. That was just my identity in sport.
Yes.
That's what people knew me by in sport. But who I am as a man, that never got paralyzed, right? I'm extremely grateful for that. My right arm and hand gets paralyzed, I get to go to disability services and learn how to write with my left arm and hand. Like I get to try different things, right? I get to go up to the Mayo Clinic, and my first visit there, I sit down and I come out of a room to where they had just shot 4 needles in my back, full of dye. I'm talking about biggest needles I've ever seen in my life. I sit down, I'm feeling sorry for myself. A little kid had to be 10 years old, sits down, I don't know what the condition was. A mother sits down on one side of her, father sits down on the opposite side of her, and it's like they're holding skin up on her face. And I was like, man, I just got an arm and a hand. But I got put in those environments, and I got to see that. Extremely thankful and grateful. Most people don't get to see things like that on a daily basis. That conditions the mindset and the perspective to look for good in the midst of adversity, opposition, or uncertainty. I tell people all the time, man, the easiest thing in the world to do is to be negative.
So easy.
Easiest thing in the world to do is complain. Easiest thing in the world to do is to quit. That's easy. Me and you both can walk out of this building and see something on the streets of LA and say, man, that's whack, and complain about it. Or we can look at it and say, you know what, man, that's really unfortunate. But if they did this, if they can change this about it, I think that can be a beautiful situation.
Yeah.
That's a gift and that's a talent that not everybody has. And it's extremely underrated. Extremely underrated.
Yeah.
But it's extremely powerful when used in the right manner.
Why do you think so many people hold on to their tragedies or traumas so intently in their present from something that happened 2, 5, 10, 20 years ago? Why do you think people hold on to it so long?
I think just the nature of the impact when it happens, right? And how it stuns their life. Because I think painful experiences, they always come with a lot of different emotions, right? Like me talking about going out, and it was hard for me with my arm and people were looking at me, right? That was a bit embarrassing at first, right? And so sometimes we hold on to these different emotions that attach to the experiences that we have. So I think you got the experience, and then you got the collateral damage of the experience.
Yeah.
How it affects our mindset, how it affects the way we see people, how it affects our emotions. And I think sometimes it's challenging to separate the two and deconstruct the two. And so therefore we hold on to the feelings that the trauma may have given us, right? The feelings that the adversity and the opposition may have given us. And so I think the moment that we can grow through it and figure out a way to use it, I think the quicker we get through it. Because I think it's a powerful thing, Louis, and I think you probably noticed to be true. When we use what happens to us and it creates a light bulb moment for another person, that's a great feeling. It's like when you get something for yourself for Christmas. That's awesome. It feels great. But when you do something for another person that you know is in need, like that feels 10 times better for some reason. And so I take adversity and opposition and I interconnect it the same way.
Yeah.
And we go through things, it hurts, or we figure out a way to get through it. But when we share something and we identify with another person to let them know that, because oftentimes when people go through stuff, you feel alone, you feel isolated, and you feel like, man, like is something wrong with me? And I think what happens when we go through and we create a level of empathy, we show them that, nah, man, you're human. Like we all go through things. Like nobody is perfect. Like I told a guy that had a brachial plexus injury, he's like, man, I see how you got through it. Like it hasn't been that easy for me. I was like, no, bro, it took work. It took years. Like this was painful. I went through every emotion that you're probably going through. And I had a lot of people that helped me with them. And so I feel like sometimes it's just the feelings that are attached and interconnected to the experiences that we have that creates the reason that we hold on to it for so long.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the quicker we can get through and use what we go through, the quicker we can go out and we can make the world a better place.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Is that what you would suggest to anyone if they go through a devastating divorce or some type of heartache or injury and they're questioning, why did this happen? I've been following the rules and I've been a good person and living a good life, and why did this thing happen to me? What would you say?
Sometimes you got to stop focusing and thinking about what could have happened or what should have happened. And you got to live in what is happening, right? Because I always say to him, stop trying to understand it and focus on surviving it. Because the quicker you can survive it, the quicker you can use it. The quicker you can extract a lesson from it. The quicker you can glean perspective from it. And for all of us, we're gonna encounter those defining moments in our lives, right? To where it's gonna hurt, right? You went through it, I went through it. I remember I said to somebody like, man, it felt like I was in a boxing match and I just got KO'd. Life just knocked me out, bro. And I'm on the mat trying to find my mouthpiece, right? I'm like spitting out blood. I see him over there counting, right? I'm looking at my guy in the corner. He want to throw in the towel. I'm like, not yet. And I find the strength to muster up, to get myself up. Be like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. And I'll never forget that person saying, you know what? Life is so cold-blooded. You're going to get knocked out like that again. And again and again. So the challenge is, will you learn the lessons from it so the lessons doesn't have to keep getting repeated and you keep having to learn.
Right.
So when you go through these things of opposition, adversity, and challenge, it's always a lesson, it's always a blessing. It's up to us to extract it. And if we're so concerned with trying to understand why, we're gonna miss the lesson, right? We're gonna miss the blessing, and the lesson is gonna keep repeating itself.
I know that from
Right.